Hello friends, today we're going to break down a major update in the UK's military and defence strategy, one that signals a serious shift in how Britain plans to defend itself and contribute to global security. The UK has announced its intention to increase its role in NATO's nuclear deterrence, specifically by joining what's known as NATO's nuclear sharing arrangement. But what does that mean? Is the UK becoming more aggressive, or is this simply a response to new threats? Let's understand this complex issue in simple terms from the ground up. First, let's clarify what NATO's nuclear sharing is. In this arrangement, the United States stores B-61 nuclear bombs in certain NATO countries, like Germany, Italy, and Belgium. These weapons can be delivered by the air forces of those countries using specially certified aircraft, such as the F-35A. It's important to note the bombs remain under US control unless NATO decides to use them in a crisis. Now here's the big point. The UK has never participated in this sharing system because it already has its own independent nuclear deterrent, the Trident submarine system. So why is Britain considering a change now? That's what makes this move so significant. In 2025, the UK government released its Strategic Defence Review, which outlined how Britain plans to prepare for future conflicts. One of the most attention-grabbing proposals, Britain should deepen its integration into NATO's nuclear mission, not just relying on submarines, but also potentially contributing to air-based nuclear capabilities. This means acquiring F-35A fighter jets, which can carry the B-61 bomb, unlike the UK's current fleet of F-35Bs, which are designed for aircraft carriers and not certified for nuclear missions. So yes, this could be the first time in decades that the UK prepares for air-launched nuclear strike missions as part of NATO's collective defence. You might be wondering, why is the UK making this move now? The short answer: Russia. With the Ukraine war, increasing Russian aggression, and growing concerns about potential nuclear escalation in Eastern Europe, NATO is strengthening its deterrent posture. By participating in nuclear sharing, the UK would have the flexibility to respond to threats faster and from multiple platforms, not just submarines deep in the ocean, but also fighter jets in the air. It also sends a strong political message to adversaries. NATO is united, and any nuclear aggression will be met with serious consequences. This isn't the only nuclear investment Britain is making. The UK is already spending £15 billion to modernise its nuclear warheads and support infrastructure. It also plans to maintain its continuous at-sea deterrent. This is where at least one Trident submarine is always on patrol, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. On top of that, the government is now proposing a new cyber electromagnetic command to protect digital infrastructure, over £1 billion for homeland missile and cyber defences, and modernisation of air and missile warning systems. All of this shows a clear shift. The UK is preparing not just for conventional war, but for hybrid and nuclear conflict scenarios as well. Of course, not everyone agrees with this strategy. Critics argue that moving toward air-launched nuclear capability increases the risk of escalation, especially in tense situations like the current standoff with Russia. There's also the question of cost. F-35 jets and nuclear infrastructure aren't cheap, but supporters say this added flexibility strengthens deterrence, especially against countries that might believe a submarine-only deterrent isn't credible enough. The key word here is integration. Britain isn't acting alone, it's aligning more closely with NATO's collective deterrence strategy, which is based on unity, flexibility, and credibility. So, in summary, the UK is preparing to expand its nuclear role, not to start wars, but to deter them more effectively. By potentially acquiring F-35A jets and participating in NATO's nuclear sharing, the UK is adapting to modern threats and solidifying its role in global security. Whether you see this as a necessary evolution or a dangerous gamble, one thing is clear: nuclear policy is back at the centre of global defence planning,